Hey everyone, and welcome to the Understanding Behavior live stream. I'm so glad that you are here. How is everybody doing today? Good to see all the familiar faces. Hey there, BK. Hey Lillian. Hey Amanda. Hey Melissa. Hey Marjorie. Hey there, Janelle. Good to see you. Hey Gabby. What's everybody up to? How's the study been going for everybody? Is anybody testing soon? I know it seems like every week out of like our understanding behavior group and out of the power preppers, I think we're getting about like 3 to 6 new BCBAs every week. So that's been really exciting to see. All right, we got Felicia testing Monday. Good luck. Mendoza Life on the 17th. Natalia on Monday too. Good luck to both of y'all. Awesome, Georgia, first time here. So glad you can make it. It's gonna be a fun one. Gabby's in October. Okay, got a little while. Yeah, we're getting a little echo. Here, let me fix that.
Is that any better, guys? I think we fixed the echo. Sorry about that. My computer like took a dump on itself again. And I had to reset all my streaming stuff. So I think we got it dialed in now. Thanks for letting me know. Perfect. Awesome. Is it loud enough? Are we good? Perfect. Yeah, a lot of people testing in October coming up. Yeah, actually really good question. Destiny's asking, do I do tutoring? I actually just today put the sold out sign on my tutoring. I've been getting clogged up with too much tutoring. And I've got projects to build for everybody to see. A lot of people participated in the Labor Day sale. Thank you guys so much. The Labor Day sale was an absolute hit. But if you didn't and still want to get some high quality mock exams, you can go ahead and do that on the Understanding Behavior shop. I'll drop the link to that right now. You can get the Ultimate BCBA bundle for just $115, and it comes with the mini mocks for mastery as well as the Beat the Beast full mock exam. All right, people are saying a little bit louder. We can do that. But anyway, a lot of people have been taking advantage of these, and they are really awesome. The mini mocks for mastery especially are built to be really tough scenario questions. There's no filler questions in here at all. Everything is really tough and going to make you really think. So that's what the mini mocks for mastery are for. They're awesome. And then we also have the Beat the Beast teaching mock, which is designed to be like a realistic representation of the BCBA exam. And if you get an 80% or higher, you are guaranteed to pass that exam, the real exam as well. That's for your first attempt only on the Beat the Beast mock exam. But right now we are at 100% pass rate for students who have scored 80% or higher on their first attempt. So it's a pretty good mock exam. And honestly, most people above 75 do pass their next exam too. So yeah, thanks to everybody who has participated in that. But the question about tutoring though, so my tutoring, it is sold out as you can see on the shop, but we do have Crystal is available for tutoring right now, so you can purchase sessions with her for $75. And then we're also gonna have another tutor on the shop probably tomorrow. It's my friend Molly. She has also been a BCBA for like 7 or 8 years. She's highly experienced. She used to teach and supervise at Simmons University, so she's very well versed in test prep stuff. She will be on the shop starting probably tomorrow, but if not, early next week at the latest. Awesome. I'm just catching up on chat real quick. Yeah, for those who already purchased before we said sold out, yes, we are good for there. I will reach back out. So you are good. Yes, Samantha, you are good. I will reach out for you to schedule that session. Yeah, if you are already signed up and good to go, you are all set for tutoring. And I will reach out shortly if I haven't already. Cool. Yeah, Hannah says she scored a 74 on the mock, 396 on the last attempt. Pretty close. Almost there, Hannah. Hope you'll get in the next one. Awesome. Yeah, Kira, that's so funny that you worked with Hannah previously, or you worked with Molly previously. Sorry, getting so many names mixed up. Molly is awesome. You guys will love her. And hopefully we can bring her on some of the Understanding Behavior live streams soon too. So and some of the study groups as well, because she's awesome. All right. Well, anyway, we as every Understanding Behavior live stream, we'll probably give away some mock exams. So we'll probably either give away a copy of the Beat the Beast or the mini mocks. We'll see how I'm feeling a little bit later. Maybe we'll do the mini mocks. That might be fun. But anyway, I would like to see a few more likes on this video. We've got 55 people here, but only 8 likes on the video. I think we could do a little bit better than that. And you know, if we get more likes on the video, the more generous I'm usually feeling too. But besides that, we have a great topic for today. We are going over schedules of reinforcement. We were going to do basic, or this PowerPoint has basic and compound, but we're only going to stick with basic schedules today. But it's quite a long presentation. It's probably a little bit longer than some of the other ones. And yeah, lots of good stuff in here. Lots of things that will help clarify, some great examples to test you guys on that are built in to the presentation. So it should be a pretty awesome one. I'm so excited that you guys are here. So yeah, I kind of want to just get a poll to start off with. How do you guys feel about schedules of reinforcement? Let's just talk about the basic schedules right now. Give me like a 1 to 10, like how confident you're feeling. Like 1 is not very confident. 10 is like, I feel super confident with these. Oh wow, a lot of people are saying they're pretty strong here. A lot of 7s to 9s, couple 6s. All right. Well, it seems like you guys are well versed in schedules already, but you know, Nick mode always puts it on challenge mode a little bit. We're gonna think super deeply about these concepts. So even if you are feeling really strongly about them right now, I'm sure I'll humble you, and hopefully we can get that number to be even more confident. We'll be even stronger with the basics and even learn some of the more finer details about these schedules as well. If you want to see the compound ones, I believe we have done that before in a different presentation, so feel free to check those out. It's somewhere else on YouTube. All right, so here is our schedule for today. We're going to go over what is a schedule of reinforcement, how schedules are implemented. We're also going to talk about what patterns of responding each schedule tends to produce, which is super important and often left out. We're going to talk about what this looks like on cumulative record graphs and label those as well. Then we're going to do a compare and contrast of interval versus time-based schedules. And I actually pulled out this part, so we're not going to talk about intermittent reinforcement and resistance to extinction in this one. All right. Yeah, my scenario questions, they're built to make you really think. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started here. So what is a schedule of reinforcement? It's essentially like the way that reinforcement is delivered, and it can be based on a few different things. So it can be based on number of responses, time since our last reinforcement, and it can also be based off of our stimulus condition. So different SDs are paired with different schedules of reinforcement, for example, when we're looking at something like multiple or concurrent schedules. So let's look at our basic schedules first. Very similarly to our basic contingencies, we have clear meanings for each of our definitions with our basic schedules. So when we first, we're going to talk about what these mean and how the schedules are implemented. Then we'll talk about what they mean in returns to what types of responding that they create. So fixed schedules mean that we're always working with the same amount. So if we're working with a fixed ratio schedule, for example, let's say we have fixed ratio 2, that means every 2 responses, a reinforcer is going to get delivered. So 2 responses, reinforcer, 1 response, no reinforcer, then the second response occurs, and there's a reinforcer. So this is what we mean by fixed, is that it's always going to be that same amount. It's always going to be 2. When we have variable, a number is going to average out to an amount. So instead of it being after 2 responses every time, sometimes it might have to be after 1 response. or sometimes it might take 3 responses for that reinforcer to be delivered, or sometimes 2 responses to be delivered. But after a ton of repetitions of that, it's all going to average out to that value of around 2. That's what we mean with our variable schedule. Next up, we have our interval schedules of reinforcement. Make sure you're paying attention to this one. It's going to come up lots of times during this presentation. And it's also one of the most misunderstood terms on the task list. So pay real close attention. An interval schedule provides reinforcement for the first response after a period of time. So not only does the time have to pass, but there has to be a response that occurs after that period of time, and then the consequence is provided in the interval schedule. So nail that down real quick. If you want, type it in chat just so you can get some practice repetitions with this definition. It's reinforcement for the first response after a period of time, interval schedule. This will come up a few times later, so again, drill it in, drill it in. Ratio schedule is much more easy to understand. This is when reinforcement's delivered after a certain number of responses. All right, let's get some questions going on. Our first one, we have about every 3 times that Alex asks someone out, they successfully land a date. So your answers here are going to be one of the 2, either fixed or variable, and then either interval or ratio for this exercise. So let's see, what schedule do we have for this first one with Alex? What do you guys got? All right, I'm looking good, looking good. Some of these are easy, some are more difficult. If you're feeling inclined for a rationale, you know those are always encouraged. Let's go ahead and check this one out. We've got a variable ratio 3 for this one. Really nice job here, crew. So this is based off of the number of times that they ask people out, and it's a variable because it says about every 3 times. So it's not exactly every 3rd request, but it's about every 3rd request. Think about that, like naturally that's gonna work. It'd be really unnatural if it was like, yeah, these 2 failed, then the next one was really good. Like you'd have to it would change the whole game. Like the 3rd one would have to be really good, and then you would like line up shitty ones to get the ones that aren't gonna work out. So that'd be weird. So variable, very natural here. Okay, how about number 2? We have after 1 to 3 minutes, you can change your channel back to the show that you are watching, and it will be back on after the commercials. What kind of schedule is this on, and why? Yeah, some nice rationales on that last one. Janelle, Kira, Felicia, on the right track. All right, I'm liking where we're going. Yeah, Chad, that's looking great. Nikki, I like the rationale. Amanda on the right track. A little bit more too, if you want to expand on that, Amanda. Okay, so this one is going to be a variable interval schedule. This is going to be a VI 2-minute. A lot of people said 3-minute here, so note that 3-minute was the top end. The average here is going to be 2, right in the center of that, 1 to 3. It's an interval schedule, so because the time must elapse and then the behavior occurs. So let's say like within like 30 seconds you try to switch it back, then your show isn't back on yet. It's not reinforced that way. But if it's been a minute or 2, and then you switch it back, then the show is more likely to be on. That's what makes an interval schedule. So the first response after the period of time was reinforced. Yep, Kira's asking the behavior was changing the channel for this one. Yeah, changing the channel back to your show, and the reinforcement was seeing your show, exactly. All right, let's check out the third one. We've got for every 100 packages that the Amazon worker ships, they get a raffle ticket to a drawing for $500. What do you guys think? What do we got here? Looking good. Oh, one more thing I did want to mention to y'all earlier is that we are going to have another behavior binge bonanza this Saturday. So that's probably going to be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And we're also going to do something new. So I tried to incorporate this on the last couple, but I kind of failed to do so. But I really want to like get more like interactivity with the behavior binge bonanzas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put like different time slots, like 15 to 20 minute time slots on the shop that you can buy. And what you can do is you can purchase that. It's probably gonna be like $25 is what I'm thinking. You can purchase that, and then if you do that, you'll be able to come on a Zoom call with me and like kind of have like a live tutoring session for the Behavior Binge Bonanza. And if you don't want to do the live session, if you don't want to come on live, you can also just suggest the topics that we review instead for your time period. So yeah, the Behavior Binge Bonanzas are where we kind of do like a more kind of freestyle topic discussion, kind of anything goes. But we're gonna try something new, getting people in live to kind of have like live tutoring sessions with a bunch of different students. It usually lasts about 2 to 3 hours long, depending on how long my voice lasts and how the interest stays. So yeah, it's going to be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on this Saturday. So it should be a pretty cool event. And if you want to hop in live, it's actually going to be cheaper than my tutoring rate. So it should be fun. Yeah, it's going to be on YouTube. So yeah, if you're subscribed to the channel, just hop on YouTube and you should see it live when we're going. All right. Let's go ahead and check this one out. This one was a pretty straightforward fixed ratio schedule. So it took 100 packages, and then they get the one raffle ticket. So fixed ratio, there's always 100 responses for the one reinforcer. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our last one. Anytime you go on Candy Crush and click the daily reward button, you receive a reward and a 24-hour cooldown before you can do it again. Yeah, the Behavior Binge Bonanzas are super fun. All right, sweet. I'm liking where we're going. Yeah, Janelle, very nicely put. Love the rationale. Good. Yeah, great answers, everyone. Nice, Rosabelle. Good, Brittany. Good, Nikki. All right, excellent. Yeah, Amanda, nice rationale there. I like it. Okay, this one is going to be the fixed interval 24-hour schedule. So let's look at this. We have the response here. It's clicking that reward button, the reinforcer receiving that daily reward, and then it's a 24-hour cooldown before you can do it again. So when you push it, then it won't become active for 24 more hours. So that's where the fixed interval comes into place, where it needs to be at least 24 hours since the last reinforcer to be reinforced. Note that like it doesn't necessarily mean that at that 24-hour mark that the reinforcer is delivered, they still need to click on the button. So even if that occurs at hour 28, then it's still a fixed interval 24 hour because it's going to reset and require 24 more hours before they go on up. Yeah, Ashley Miller is asking about the Tough Stuff course. We took it off. We did occasionally run it, but honestly, we've been running most of those PowerPoints in the live streams. So this is actually one of the sections of the Tough Stuff course from there. It might come back as a module soon, so we'll see. There's a lot going on in understanding behavior world right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about cumulative record graphs real quick. And a cumulative record graph, the main defining feature of it is our y-axis. Our y-axis tracks the cumulative number of responses rather than just like the number of responses that occur on each session. So it's going to track all of the responses that occur in the entire graph up to the point that we're looking at. That's the main feature of this. In a cumulative record graph, it's always looking at the total, so this graph will never go down. It's always going to go up or sideways. So if it's going sideways, that means the value is just staying at the same amount. It's not increasing at all, but we still have time passing on our x-axis. We also have what we call pips. These are these short lines that are drawn from our data paths, and they indicate that a reinforcer is delivered. So whenever you see one of these little lines, it shows that reinforcer is delivered there. Cool. Yeah, Adeline's asking a question. What kind of schedule is more effective for reinforcement? It really depends like what kind of reinforcement you're doing. We'll talk about like what types of responding each of these schedules produce in a little bit, but none is better for reinforcement than another. They do have like particular uses that we'll talk about in a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and we're going to talk about that now, actually. So we talked about how each of these different terms relate to our the way that schedules are implemented. We can also look at these, and they have clear ways of producing different patterns of responding. So when we have a fixed schedule, this is going to always create responding that has a post-reinforcement pause. And variable schedules are going to create more smooth responding or not have a post-reinforcement pause. Another thing that you can look at is like the space between the pips. So in this one, we know it's variable because the spacing between the pips is often different from each other. It's not equal. So that's another way to tell variable versus fixed, and we'll see some examples in a little bit. We also have interval schedules. So interval schedules tend to create slower or more moderate rates of responding. Usually it's a little bit more gradual of a slope. And ratio schedules tend to create faster responding, and it's going to be a little bit of a steeper slope, indicating that more responses are occurring in a short period of time. So let's go ahead and look at some graphs now and try to label each of these. Let's start with our red data path on the far left. Again, this is going to be a 2-word answer. Which type of graph is being plotted here? Sweet, liking the answers. Yeah, Nikki backing it up with an excellent rationale too. Yeah, Amanda, that looks great as well. Sweet. Anybody else want to give this a go? Okay, sweet. It's looking good. This one is going to be a VR schedule. So we see the variable in a couple different ways. We see that smooth pattern of responding. There's not much pausing. And then we can also look at the pips have different distances between them. That also is an indicator of a variable. Excuse me. And then we see that this is a steeper line, so that we know that that's faster responding occurring, where we see lots of responses occur in just a short period of time on our x-axis. Excellent. Let's check out our second one right next to it, this little periwinkle one. What do we got here? Looking good, looking good. Cool, yeah, Kira, that looks good. Yeah, Tina. Yeah, Amanda, I like where you're going. Felicia as well. Mendoza looks great. Okay, cool beans. That looks really nice, everyone. So this is going to be the fixed ratio schedule. So the fixed ratio schedule creates responding with post reinforcement pauses. So that's those little flat lines that we see here. That's the fixed part of it. Again, some people mentioned that we see like the equal spacing between our pips, also an indicator of a fixed schedule. And then we see ratio that's more on the steeper end. It's occurring very quickly. All right, how about our green data path? What schedule's being plotted here? Man, I see our like counter is getting close to like a hot number. Awesome. Angela's looking great here. Nikki is slaying these rationales tonight. Way to go. Amanda is as well. Excellent. Loving it, crew. So yeah, this one is going to be the variable interval schedule. So we see more consistent rates of responding. We see the varied distances between the pips as well. That means variable. And we see a more gradual slope, not quite as steep, indicating that we have an interval schedule here. All right, how about our final one? What do we have on our far right mustard yellow data path? Yeah, people remembering the little mnemonics for this one. Good, loving the details, everyone. Looking great. Okay. Yeah, really nice job, everyone. So this one is going to be our fixed interval schedule. So this one we see the responding that does have the post reinforcement pauses. So we see after the pips that we see flat parts of the graph. And then we also see a more gradual slope where it takes a lot of time for these responses to occur. Yeah, we'll go over the fixed interval scallop in a sec. This is the same table that we were looking at, just has a little bit more detail. has a little bit of a why section in it. The why section, some of it's a little bit mentalistic, but hopefully it makes sense at least. So our fixed schedules, they tend to create those post-reinforcement pauses just because they're a little bit more predictable. So I like to think about it as that it kind of creates like this no rush effect for the organism because they know when reinforcement's going to happen since it happens consistently every time. When it's less consistent, it's less predictable. So I think that like kind of creates like more manic responding, for lack of a better term. And it kind of smooths out that pattern of responding where like they don't really know where it's gonna occur, so they'll just like keep like at a consistent rate until they get the reinforcers. With our interval schedules, remember the time has to elapse before reinforcers are delivered. So what that does is that it creates an effect where faster responding does not always increase the amount of reinforcers that they're going to obtain. So that's why it tends to create slower rates of responding because like it's not always rewarded with more reinforcers. The opposite is true for our ratio schedules though, since our reinforcers are based off of the number of responses. That means if we engage in more responses, then we're going to get more reinforcers. So that's what our ratio schedule is all about. Here is the fixed interval scallop. So let's go ahead and just break down what is happening in each one of these scallops because everybody knows the shape, but we don't always think about like what does the shape mean. So I think it's important to break that down. So let's go ahead and do that. So once a reinforcer is delivered here, right at this pip mark, we see the pausing occur. So little to no responding occurring for a short period of time. And as the interval starts to go through, then we see that responding start to slowly pick up in rate. So that slope starts to get a little bit more steep towards the center here. Towards the end of the interval, we actually see responding occur at a very high rate, and it will occur at the fastest rate that it will occur until that reinforcer is delivered. And then once that reinforcer is delivered, we see that pattern repeat itself. So again, to go over it, we have pausing once the reinforcer is delivered, starts to gradually pick up pace, then it starts to get really fast towards the end of the interval. The reinforcer is finally delivered at the end of the interval and the response occurs, and then we see that pattern reset. So that's what our fixed interval scallop is all about. Kind of cool. Does anybody ever like broken it down that way or thought about it that way before? Yeah, it looks like Kira's on board here. Cool. All right. Well, let's keep chugging along. Sweet. Yeah, I'm glad that this was useful. All right. Our next topic here is what really important differentiation that I think a lot of students struggle with. So pay attention here. We've got a fun exercise coming up on it to test. So we've been talking about our interval schedules all day. So remember, interval schedules, the time must elapse and the response must occur for reinforcement. Obviously, we can chart those on a cumulative record graph like we just looked in our previous examples. And these are schedules of reinforcement, so they do reinforce behavior. Sweet. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are finding that useful. Yeah, Nikki's saying like this helps like the information stick better. I'm not a fan of like all of the shortcuts that people use, like Snaba especially. Like I feel like they use too many shortcuts, and they just and like what they do is like they don't actually teach the full concept of what this is. I find it's way more useful to like get a full understanding of the concept, and then you can see all these different components and understand why they interact with each other, rather than just having like a list of things memorized that you always get confused with and don't have like the full picture of. So yeah, if you are thinking about like any topics that you're struggling with, that's probably the first thing to look at. Is like, do you only know the shortcuts, or do you have a complete full understanding of the topic? And if you can't come up with a definition, an easy to say definition, and an original example that you've never used before, then I say you don't really know the concept as well as you think you do. So come here if you want to actually learn. All right. Sweet. Well, let's talk a little bit more about our time schedules now. So we hit our interval schedules already. With our time schedules, this is when a stimulus or a reinforcer is delivered after a period of time, and this is usually independent of behavior, so it's delivered after time alone. Time schedules do not have a behavior requirement. So since we're not like tracking any behavior, we're usually not going to use a cumulative record to track these behaviors. It just doesn't really make sense. And usually time schedules are used to satiate MOs to reduce behavior. And a couple of people mentioned in chat, yeah, this is very similar to NCR. Like an NCR is a procedure that uses a time schedule. And this is how it uses it, is it provides a reinforcer non-contingently. So it kind of just gives them the free reinforcer. And that is supposed to satiate that MO so they don't engage in behavior. So it kind of has like an abative effect on the behaviors that result in that reinforcer. Cool. We've got a question real quick in chat, and then we'll get into our exercise. Question is, so when a BCBA gives you an interval or ratio requirement, but then tells you that regardless if they get the correct response or not, it is based on if they have no behavior. So that would just be based on, like, think about the response class that the schedule is based on. So if it's based on any response or based on a correct response, so it seems like in that one, it would just be based on any response. It kind of just depends. I'm not sure if I'm totally getting your scenario, Lillian, but hopefully that helps. Yeah, this is different than a DRO schedule. NCR is non-contingent reinforcement. DRO is reinforcement for absence of the behavior, so time passing without the behavior. We're going to avoid that for now. I think it's a totally different topic. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and look at this next set of examples. So all these are going to be either interval or time schedules. So think about, is the consequence delivered after a response, or is it delivered after time alone? If you want to go for the full schedule on these, you're more than welcome to. But what we're really looking for is just interval or time for as bare minimum. Lexi, my pup, she gets butt scratches from Nick about every 30 minutes. What kind of schedule do we have here? Well, it's funny. My dog and my girlfriend are both Lexi, so I had to specify Lexi pup, not Lexi girlfriend. You know, she also sometimes gets butt smacks. I know. It wasn't meant to be that way. Trust me, guys. I know. It's weird. It's not that weird, though. I promise. All right. Let's go ahead and check out this first one. So we've got a variable time 30-minute schedule here. So Lexi doesn't have to do anything. She just gets the butt scratches. It's variable here because it's about every 30 minutes, so it's not always exactly 30 minutes. And again, no behavior is required from Lexi for this to occur. All right, let's check out our next one. We've got another Candy Crush one. Anytime you go on a Candy Crush and click the daily reward button, you receive a reward. The game also tells you how much time remains until midnight when you can receive your reward again. So resets at midnight. Oh man, that light counter has been stuck at a landmark, or close to a landmark, for a while. It hasn't quite reached it yet. It's like really close. All right, answer is looking pretty good here. Sweet. All right, a lot of people saying fixed interval here. You guys are correct. It is an interval schedule. This one's kind of tricky, maybe a little unfair. This one's actually a variable interval schedule. So this one, it always resets at midnight. So sometimes, like, if you do it at like 11 o'clock, then it's only 1 hour to midnight. But if you do it at like 1 a.m., then it's like 23 hours to midnight. So it's all going to average out to about 12 hours. So this one is a variable interval, 12-hour schedule that we're working with. Very tricky, but I'm glad that most of you guys got that. It was an interval schedule at least, that response is still required. And we finally did meet that landmark on our like counter. We got to our 40 likes. How about we give away a mock exam right now? What do you guys think? Should we give away a mock, or like the Beat the Beast, or the mini mocks? What are you guys thinking, chat? Which one should we give away? Beat the Beast or mini mocks? People, okay. Ooh, a little split here. Oh. All right. How about? Okay. How about this? Well, how about this? If you win, you can get whatever you want. So if you need them both, you can get the ultimate bundle. If you just need the minis, you can get the minis. If you just need the Beat the Beast, you can get the Beat the Beast. So winner gets whatever they want. All right. So basically an ultimate bundle on the line here, with the mini mocks and the Beat the Beast. All right. Yeah, and yeah, if you already have both of these, please refrain from participating, just to give everybody else a chance. But yeah, we're gonna do another random here. Let's do random 1 to 500, and yeah, let's get some numbers going. 1 to 500. This is for the ultimate BCBA mock exam bundle. And if you do already have both of these, you are the coolest. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love you. No, do not participate to give to a friend. Invite your friend. Tell them to come here, be here next time. Okay. I think Michelle's going to be our last person, Michelle Harper. Let's pick our number. 131. Let's see, who's close? 131. I've seen, Amanda, 167. I think Amanda might be our closest tonight, actually. Anybody see closer? No, I think Amanda is our winner. Congratulations, Amanda. I believe you still need the mini mocks, so I will go ahead and set you up with those. Congratulations. Yeah, just send me a DM and give me your email, and you'll be all set. Woo, 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 woo. Yay, I know you're testing soon, Amanda. So, yeah, those would be great to run you through the ringer right before test date. When is your test date again? You're like a couple weeks out, Amanda? Yay! Awesome, awesome. Well, congrats. And yeah, we'll see how we'll see how we're feeling. If we get another landmark, maybe we'll give away something else later. All right, testing on the 30th. Sweet. Well, coming right up. Awesome. Congratulations. Okay, well, let's continue with our exercise. We're going to go to our third one now. Paul's teacher lets him go to the bathroom after he asks about every hour. What kind of schedule do we have here? All right. Looking good. I like the answers. Yeah, Kira, nice backup there. Okay, yeah, answer's looking great. Victoria, I love the rationale. Okay, let's check this one out. So we've got a VI 60-minute here. So, yeah, after an hour or about an hour, the about here changes this from fixed to variable. He can ask and then he gets to go to the bathroom. So he's not just let to the bathroom. He does have to ask and then he can go to the bathroom. So the behavior is reinforced after about that period of time. Very nice. Let's check our last one. Little tricky here. Brooke gets beeped at by her car every 3 seconds until she puts on her seatbelt. This one we're focusing on the delivery of beeps. Tricky. What y'all thinking? Okay, we're a little split here. All right, here's first one with the rationale. Yeah, again, we're focusing on the delivery of beeps in this one. What kind of schedule are those delivered on? Yeah, okay, Lillian's on it. Bonus question, what kind of schedule is plugging the seatbelt on? Alrighty, let's go ahead and check this out. Yeah, okay, Lucila's on it. Good, yeah, there you go, Nikki. Got my bonus there. Alright, let's check it out. This one is going to be a fixed time schedule. So the beeps here, they're delivered every 3 seconds. A behavior does not produce the beeps. The behavior actually eliminates the beeps. So the beeps are delivered on a fixed time 3-second schedule. Plugging in the seatbelt, that removes the beeps, and that's on an FR1 schedule for negative reinforcement. So we hear the beeps, we plug it in, and then the beeps are immediately removed. Yeah, again, for time and interval, we want to look, is a response required after the period of time to receive the reinforcer? If so, that's going to be an interval schedule. If no response is required, then it's going to be a time schedule. So Lexi did not have to do anything to receive her butt scratches, and Brooke did not have to do anything to get beeped at by her car. It just started beeping. Alrighty. It's quiz time. Y'all ready for this? All right, our first question. I told you that this would be really important, muy importante. When is a reinforcer delivered on an interval schedule? No options here. I need you to give me your best verbiage. What do you got? When is a reinforcer delivered on an interval schedule? I warned you 18 million times that this question is coming. All right, Lillian's on the right track. Kira, I need a little bit more there. Alicia, need a little bit more. Felicia on the right track, a little awkward. Okay, Kira, put it all together now. Rosabelle, very nice. I like that. I need a little bit more, Brittany. Ashley, need a little bit more. Yeah, Janelle on the right track. There's like one detail you could add there. Good. Yeah, Tina, that looks good. Yeah, Nikki, that looks perfect. Very nice. Adeline on the right track. You don't need that average there. Wow, I love how so many people are trying this, giving it a go. Not easy, but if you're brave, you will learn. Good. Yeah, Maddie, perfect. 100%. Yes, Marjorie nailed it. I think it's Apia. That looks great as well. Yeah, there you go, Kira. There you go, Dora. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, Lillian, you're on the right track. Okay, let's check this one out. So this is going to be after the first response, after a period of time. So the time must elapse, then the response occurs, and then the reinforcer is provided. So again, time elapses, response occurs, then the reinforcer is provided. Okay, what kind of schedules produce fast rates of responding? We've got one word answer options here. Be very careful. What do we got here? Okay, I'm liking where we're going. Ooh, I like that, what Lillian's got there. Rapid and ratio. Very nice. This one is going to be our ratio schedule. So we've got our fast responding here because it's based off of number of responses. So more responses means more reinforcers, which means we're going to do it more. More. What kind of schedule produces a post-reinforcement pause? What do we got here? Yeah, Kira, great rationale in that last one. Yeah, Maddie on the right track too. You know I love those rationales. Girl, show me that rationale. Sorry, I'm the worst. All right, I'm liking where we're going. Anybody want to try rationale here? Okay, yeah, Lillian, I like how you phrase that. That's really nice. Yeah, Adeline, that looks good. Yeah, Maddie on the right track. This one's awkward to explain, for sure. Yeah, there you go, Marjorie. That's like that no rush effect. Good. Yeah, really nice job here, Cruz. This one's going to be our fixed schedules. Since they're a little bit more predictable, they kind of create that no rush effect for our organism and creates that post-reinforcement pause because it's a little bit more predictable. Very nice. Which kind of schedule produces a consistent rate of responding or responding without pauses? Like counter at 47. All right, I'm liking where we're going here. This one is going to be our B variable schedule. So they kind of smooth out that pattern of responding because it's a little bit less predictable. All right, how about this next one? What kind of schedule averages out the number of responses or interval length between reinforcements? Hooba dooba what? All right, looking good. All right, yeah, this one is there to stump some people, but everybody here is paying very close attention. Nice. This one is also going to be our variable schedule. So they're going to average out that number of responses or the interval length. So either that number of responses. So like if we had VR3, it's going to be between like 1 and 5. If we have an interval like VR 2 minutes, then we might be like 1 to 3 minutes, something like that. All right, next one. What kind of schedule produces slow to moderate rates of responding? All right, I'm loving it. Great answers. This one is going to be D, our interval schedule. So since these require time to pass before reinforcement is available, it tends to create slower rates of responding. People are saying the scallop effect. Remember, that's only for our fixed interval schedule, not our variable interval. All right, what does a steep slope indicate on a cumulative record graph? Okay, let's check it out. This one is going to be B, fast behavior. So steep slope means that we have lots of responses occurring in a short period of time. So it's not moving very far on our x-axis, so not much time occurring. But it is moving a lot on our y-axis, showing a lot of response occurring. All right, we'll go pretty fast in these graphs. We're almost at the end here. What schedule is being displayed on this cumulative record? Man, so close to the end, and we're at 47 likes. I mean, it's so close to a pretty number. Okay. Answers looking good here. Everybody knows this one, the fixed interval schedule. Even with my expert drawing here, look how good these lines are. We can see a fixed interval, so post-reinforcement pause, our scallop, about equal space between our pips, and that slower rate. All right, how about this next one? What do we got here? I know, look how beautiful these graphs are. If you had to rate my drawing skills 1 to 10, how would you rate them? There's only one correct answer. It's clearly a 10. Yeah, Takia knows. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I know, it's really hard to draw on a computer. At least I had like the line tool to make the axes. It's on light mode too. I need to make dark mode ones. If you notice, I'm like bigger on dark mode. Somebody complained that the mini mocks were too dark, so I made them dark blue instead of black backgrounds. Hopefully you guys like those. Any feedback on that? By the way, if you're in the mini mocks, we changed up the text. We made the text a little bit bigger. We changed it to blue backgrounds. Are you guys digging that more? Any feedback on that would be dope. All right, anyway, really nice job on this one. We've got the wrong answer is highlighted here. This one is actually a variable interval schedule. So yeah, this one is actually D. Sorry about that. Incorrect on here. But we see that slower rate of responding, more gradual slope. We don't have post-reinforcement pauses. And we see varying amounts of distance between our pips here as well. Okay. Let's check this. Actually, we'll skip this one. This was a repeat. When is the reinforcer delivered on an interval schedule? And again, this is going to be after the first response, after a period of time. Cool. Let's go ahead and check out a couple more graphs here. What do we got on this one? Cool, Lucille. I'm glad you're ready to go again. Hopefully you'll nail it this time. I'm glad you passed B, Lillian. Appreciate that feedback. Anybody else have feedback on the mini mocks there? Also, if you haven't tried them out yet, we do have 2 free mini mocks that you can get on this page here. All you have to do is scroll down a little bit and click these free ones, and then you can get access to the 2 free mini mocks that are there. Yeah, they are hard for sure. Crush it, Janelle, you got it. All right, nice job on this one. We've got a fixed ratio here. So we see steeper slope showing that faster responding. We have our post-reinforcement pauses. So after these pips, we see flat lines, and we see about equal distance between our pips here. All right. Yeah, I just dropped the links to the mini mocks. I'll drop it once more. The mini mocks have 25 questions each at each mini mock. All right, you guys think it's too dark on the mini mocks? I appreciate that. I'll adjust that, and we'll make it a little bit less dark for y'all. All right, we'll check this last. Check this question here. In the fixed interval scallop, what is happening near the end of the interval? Cool. Well, Brittany, welcome. Yeah, right now we've got the Ultimate Mock Bundle, I think is our best value bundle of stuff right now. And that comes with a full mock exam as well as the mini mocks. The mini mocks have a 25 question mini mock over each section, as well as the 2 free mixed mini mocks. And then the Beat the Beast mock is a pretty realistic representation of the actual mock, the actual BCBA exam. And if you get an 80% or higher on the Beat the Beast mock, you are guaranteed to pass the real exam. on your first. That's if you get 80% on your first attempt. And right now we have a 100% pass rate of students getting 80% or higher past the real thing. So yeah, check it out on the Understanding Behavior shop. And if you want to get the free mini mocks to go, I've got the link posted up there in chat too. All right. Yeah, good. I'm liking the answers here. Yeah, thanks for the feedback on the mini mocks there, crew. We'll definitely lighten that color up. Hopefully it'll be easy on your eyes. All right, answer to this one is going to be D, fast responding. So I remember in our fixed fit interval, scallop, towards the end of the interval, it actually occurs really fast. We see that steep slope right before the reinforcer is delivered, and then we see that pattern reset there, but really fast towards the end. All righty. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you are interested in some really high quality mock exam materials, definitely check out what we have on the shop. You can get the Ultimate Bundle for $115, and it comes with the full mock as well as the mini mocks for mastering. And then a reminder, on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to make an event for it shortly. We are going to have the Behavior Binge Bonanza. So it's going to be free for all topics. And there's also going to be an opportunity that if you want to come on live on stream and choose some of the topics, there will be an option for that available on the shop. So keep posted for that. It should be really fun. I'm excited for that. Those events are always a blast. Thank you guys so much for coming. This was great. Yeah, Amanda, just send me a DM and I'll get you set up with the mini mocks. Actually, I can, I'll just get you set up right after this. I've got you. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this presentation and learned a few things. If you are on Facebook and want to come to more study groups, join us on the Power Preppers group, where we do a bunch of weekly free study groups and we get people to pass the exam. And it's really cool. Yay! Yay, cool, Nikki. I'm glad you'll be able to make it. Yeah, for sure. Glad you guys learned a few things about schedules. Yay. Yeah, join us on Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys Saturday. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you at the next one. Peace.